My name is Megan Kosman, and this is my final presentation for the Parson School of Design, the YellowBrick UX Foundations course. In this video, I will be presenting the full overview of my app, Tackle. Tackle is a home and personal task management app. It takes the professional task management apps that we are all familiar with and applies those concepts to a more personal setting. I will walk you through my design process, from research to prototyping, and finally to my moonshot idea of how this app can grow in the future. The first part of my design process was market research. I knew going in that I wanted to create a product for personal task management rather than professional task management. To start, I looked at some of the task management solutions that are currently available on the market to see what elements would work in my project and what are the main issues that I will need to resolve. I focused my research on 3 products, ClickUp and Asana, which are digital task management apps and websites, as well as a bullet journal, which is a physical tangible product. I used each of these products to manage my tasks over the course of a few weeks, and I was able to observe some of the pros and cons of each of the items. In terms of pros, or features that were important to have in my app, I noticed several things. Essential tools should be free, so the things that make the app usable should be accessible to everyone. The ability to customize your layouts, tasks, and app is vital to productivity because each person works a different way. And finally, having multiple ways to view your task is very important. In terms of the cons, or things that I would need to keep in mind to resolve in my app, I noticed that for price points, for the more complex tools, I needed to keep the price point low because making it inaccessible for people who aren't in a work setting is important. Finally, and secondly, customization shouldn't be complicated. And time is money, so it needs to be simple, and you don't need to have a design degree just to know how to change your app. And finally, location is everything. You should be able to access your app from wherever you are. To summarize my findings, I found that while most of the products currently on the market can work for personal task management, there's no solution that doesn't come with a large downside that limits the availability either through price or aptitude, customization, or accessibility. I proposed that creating a customizable online task management program will help users organize and complete their tasks. The second step in my process was to create a user survey. I wanted to find out how users are currently managing their tasks and see what their needs are and where things need to be updated or kept the same. I had 5 questions I wanted to answer with my survey. I wanted to see how are users currently keeping track of their daily personal tasks, what are the tasks our users are primarily using those systems to keep track of, and what are their current systems is working and what isn't. What features would they prefer to see in an online app-based task tracking system, and how much customization and modularity should we include in the design? For my questions, I started first by figuring out what demographics would use this solution. Then I figured out what tasks they commonly needed to keep track of. I also asked what methods were used to track tasks. Finally, I asked some more open-ended questions about pros and pain points of each person's system and allowed them to add more explanation about their methods. My results showed that most of my survey respondents were females between the ages of 18 and 24. 100% of respondents were keeping track of calendar events and cleaning and/or household tasks, with other tasks being secondary. But they were still tracked by a majority of respondents. The method used to track tasks varied, but most respondents used paper lists. Most of the frustrations around their systems centered around accessing the list. It is either not where it needs to be, or tasks are not saving or being remembered, which prevents the list from being consistently used. In terms of what worked well, respondents seemed to like that they were able to sort their tasks by subjects or their own criteria. Most people really wanted to have a way to integrate all of their task lists together, or to easily recreate lists in their system. 60% of respondents had to manually customize their solutions to meet their needs. However, it seemed that people did not always manually change their systems to suit their needs, but they rated the ability to customize the system as very important. I would infer from this information that if customization was available and easily accessible, it would be used a great deal. Once I gathered my findings from the user survey, I moved on to creating the initial prototypes of my app. I started by creating a sitemap for my product so I could better visualize the different sections in the app and what I would need to design going forward. I started the prototyping process by creating some wireframes on paper. I created a variety of different layouts for each of the sections of my app to get a feel for how I wanted the design to look before I moved on to the next section. Once I created the basic wireframes on paper, I chose my favorite layouts from those designs and created them in Adobe XD. I started with a main title page for the app. Next was a sign-in page where users could either sign into an existing account or create one if needed. Then I created a loading page for those transitional spaces that would occur when the app needed to load. I then moved on to the interior layouts of the app, starting with the main home page that includes the daily summary, access buttons or icons for each of the sections further into the app, and the daily summary is accessed through the main page. By clicking in the daily summary section, you see an overview of all of the information from tasks, events, fitness, and health sections, as well as any images or scans that are associated with that day. The next page is the calendar section, which has a month or week view at the top with a button to toggle in between them, and it also has a view for the day, where all of your events for that day or tasks or things will show up. The to-do page is where your tasks live. The to-do page can be sorted into groups so like tasks are together, or it can be filtered to show only one kind of task at a time. It also has a search feature for when you have a specific task that you need to find, and the plus button at the bottom is where you add new tasks. The notes page is where you add thoughts and information that you need to keep for reference rather than tasks or other items. It also has a search bar and an add button. And finally, the health page is where you can track items like medications or physical symptoms that you're experiencing. There's a month, week, and daily calendar view, as well as a section at the bottom where it shows the most common items that are occurring in your health for the month, which is an easy way to have a list for reference when you're talking to a doctor or another medical professional or even your family. The fitness page is where you can track your workouts, gym visits, or other fitness events that you do over the course of the month, year, day, week. It has monthly, weekly, and daily views, as well as a graph at the bottom that tracks your progress for specific items over a specific date range that you can enter in the settings. Finally, the image page is where a user can store all of the scans of their paper lists or any images of items that they will need for their tasks. They can also link each image to a specific task or a specific day, so it shows up on those areas in the different areas of the app as well. The next step in my process after creating the wireframes and the initial prototype was to further develop the visual design and style for the app. I started this process by pulling some pictures for color, typography, and logo inspiration. For the record, all of these images I used are copyright free and come from unsplash.com. Once I gathered my inspiration and style research, I created a style guide for my app and its brand. This guide included icons for inside the app, button designs, fonts, logos, colors, and the app icon for mobile devices. After I created my style guide, I created a more refined prototype than my original. For the first 3 pages, the only updates I made were applying my logo and the brand colors to the layouts. For the main page, I updated the header with the logo, and I added a settings button and a side menu for navigating throughout the app. I added clickable icons for each of the different sections of the app, and finally I updated all of the colors with my brand colors. For the daily summary page and the calendar pages, I updated all of the colors to be the brand colors, and I added a button to close the section and return to the main page, as well as the side navigation menu that was on the home page. For each of these 3 pages, the to-do, notes, and health, I updated the colors to match my style guide. I also improved the layouts of the search, filter, and sort areas so they would have rounder corners and fit into the top of each section, or their appropriate sections of to-do or notes, better. Finally, I added the navigation menu and the exit button to return to the home screen to all 3 pages. For the last 2 pages, my only updates were the colors, the navigation menu, and the exit button. Finally, for my moonshot idea, I expanded on my original concept and went out to the boundaries of what is possible. I created an idea of the ideal future state of my app, if I had unlimited funds and unlimited time to develop it. For my moonshot idea, I wanted to figure out a way to make my project more accessible to people who are neurodivergent, such as those people with ADHD or autism, or those who have neurological conditions that affect memory and task management, such as people with Alzheimer's. My solution comes in 2 parts. The first is to integrate augmented reality into the app. I want to allow users to add markers around their homes and physical spaces so that they can scan a room with their phone's camera and see what needs to be done visually, so that way they don't need to remember the tasks or even what list the tasks are on. I also want to apply this augmented reality to the world outside the home so that people can link tasks to specific locations in their area, so when they're in that location, they receive a notification for what needs to be done in each place. Such as if they're at the grocery store, they receive a notification with their grocery list or information about what prescriptions they need to pick up at the pharmacy there. The second part is incorporating AI and a robotic assistant into the app. This would be a small robot that would first map the user's home, and then it would keep track of the tasks using those augmented reality markers that need to be completed. It could also play a similar role to a Google Home or an Alexa, and it would allow you to add tasks to the app or remind you of tasks. It could even integrate with the Google or Alexa so that your smartwatches or other personal technology located around your home are working seamlessly together with the app to get the best results for you. It could also add motivation to your task completion by introducing gamification, by timing you so you can set records against yourself, or creating competitions between members of a household in order to see who can complete the most tasks. Finally, the assistant could carry items that are difficult for people to keep track of, like keys or wallets, or even time-sensitive items like medications that need to be taken at a certain time. Just for reference, these are my image sources for the moonshot idea page. I want to take a moment to thank every one of my survey participants who helped me with my research, and I also want to thank Parson's School of Design, Creative Block, and YellowBrick for creating this course. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Goodbye!